Tiger King has been the most popular docu-series of the quarantine, and many people have wondered what happened to the big cats. Kent Drodar is the spokesperson for the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Kennisburg, Colorado. It rescued dozens of tigers from Joe Exotic's facility.
They showed up in pretty poor shape, as you would imagine. They were undernourished, which is very typical, and as a result of that, they had kind of dry, brittle coats without much luster. You could see bones.
In Colorado, the tigers are living together in habitats ranging from 5 to 200 acres. But the pandemic is putting a strain on people's wallets, and donations to this large carnivore sanctuary are slowing down.
People have lost their jobs, so some people have had to withdraw their support. With all the kind of stockpiling of food, we're not receiving the food donations that we normally do.
It's expensive to care for the more than 500 animals who live there.
It could be about $8 to $8.5 million a year in the cost of food. And we're starting to get into our hungry season because our 200 bears are just waking up from hibernation.
For nearly 40 years, the nonprofit has survived off generous donations. Now it could use those more than ever.
So we've actually asked our supporters to help us if they can, to not forget about these animals. They depend totally on us. They are absolutely 100% dependent on human beings.
Animal shelters sit empty as more people turn toward four-legged friends for companionship in times of isolation.
Of shelters emptying out, many for the first time in history.
Animal shelters and rescues across the state and even throughout the country are seeing an increase in people adopting pets. The Central California SPCA says they haven't had many animals coming in, but they are seeing more dogs and cats finding forever homes.
In February, we had 288 dog-cat adoptions, and in March, we had 306. So that right there tells us that we are seeing animals still out of our shelter.
In Madera County, the interim director for the animal shelter says that they had 17 pets get adopted in the last month. That's compared to the 5 a month that usually get chosen to be part of a family. Cindy Avila says that they've also been able to send a record number of injured pets to rescues as more space opens up due to the increased demand.
Everything we get, if it's sick or injured, they're saying, we'll take it, we'll take it. I mean, there's not a lot of space of it, but because there's extra space now because we're all in the same boat. And so these rescue groups who normally pull a lot of dogs from shelters, just regular stray dogs, since we're not taking in the stray, they have a lot more room for our injured dogs.
Animal shelter officials aren't worried about families returning pets once stay-at-home orders lift. However, the California State Director of the Humane Society of the U.S. says they're working on ways to make sure adopted animals can stay in their new homes.
We are trying to do a lot of measures right now to help people in terms of providing pet food to those in need, providing free veterinary services, and measures like that so that people don't have to give up their pets for reasons like financial support issues.
The number of people wanting to foster pets is also on the rise, but folks wanting to foster or adopt will need to make an appointment as safe distance restrictions remain in place.
Doing her part to help during the pandemic at a distance.
So make sure everybody's 6 feet apart.
Still runs Shelter Hope Pet Shop, a rescue in Thousand Oaks. But lately, she's taken on a new role.
I have some masks for you and the girls.
Delivering free essential items for people and their pets.
It makes me feel glad that we're able to do this. It's obviously a time that none of us ever thought would be in a pandemic.
Thank you so much.
The pandemic left single mom Holly Gentle unemployed, so Sil is doing what she can.
To have extra food for the dog and the cat, it's always a good thing. It means the world to me.
Sil and her volunteers are keeping busy.
The workload has intensified by about, 50 times.
With their SUVs full of supplies.
There's sanitizers, Clorox wipes, some people need water.
The team takes the items to seniors afraid to leave their homes, also helping healthcare workers.
It's heartbreaking to know that these people that are helping so many people have to go home after a 12, 13, 14-hour shift and not even have things to help themselves.
So volunteers bring them items and walk their dogs while they're on the front lines.
Let's go.
The house calls keep the team busy.
We're getting about 30 calls a day that we wouldn't normally get. Calls from people that in our community that need help with food, with like dog walking, with other supplies, with vetting.
Hey, little guy.
And they're answering all of the calls while caring for dozens of dogs.
Many of the dogs have come in the last few weeks because of the COVID situation.
Sil is devoted to helping animals and the community, and the pandemic won't stop her mission.
Sil says they're making it work. Through colors and drawings and sculpting, Maureen Kelleher helps her clients open up and heal.
So art therapy can be helpful, especially if somebody is having difficulty accessing words for what's going on. So that can happen for a number of reasons. Maybe somebody's a little reluctant to touch on some trauma and needs a possible way to express this.
When the coronavirus prevented in-person sessions, Kelleher set up a makeshift home office to reach clients via telehealth.
The individuals that I've seen were by and large, thrilled and excited and happy to continue this way. And we all sort of went through the learning curve together of connecting through technology. We are exploring both the goals that they had maybe prior to self-quarantining, as well as the impact, to what degree is it impacting you that you're not seeing your friends, or you're not working, or you're stuck in your house with your family.
There are challenges. Clients need access to their own art supplies. They also need to find privacy to be able to open up and talk freely during the sessions, which can be difficult during quarantine. Kelleher says while it's different, the therapy is still effective.
Creating that consistency, knowing that there's an outlet to talk about and explore creatively the uncertainty that we're all in.
And takes in animals that are in desperate need of care. And once they're brought back to health, the animals are adopted out.
That is our main source of income, donations from the public. We don't get any city funding, no state funding, and no grants. Everything comes from the community, along with Hope's Garden Resort profits come to help the center as well.
Just recently, the rescue took in more than a dozen dogs from a home in North Carolina.
The owner didn't even know how many she had in the house. She didn't know whether they were males or females. She had had a stroke. I'm sure her heart was in the right place when she started, but everything kind of got out of control.
They ended up taking in 17 dogs, a large financial responsibility. Right next door is Hope's Garden Resort, a daycare and boarding facility. It's also a nonprofit, and the money brought in there goes straight to helping the rescue.
We have folks that are still doing their doggy daycare with us, for us, to keep us going. Even though they're home with their dogs, they say, we want to keep you going.
The community has also stepped up in another way.
One of her clients actually brought in a check for $2,000 to help with payroll.